With Colorado being one of the only major college football programs that we're really interested in holding a spring game, I want to talk about what it is that we would like to see in a Colorado football spring showcase and what, if anything, we might be able to glean as we head into this all-important month of April that's got not just that showcase, but the NFL draft and perhaps the last ever spring transfer portal window. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, welcome. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer this comment below. What is the one area that you would like to see some major improvement from the Colorado Buffaloes heading into this 2025 season, which I think is going to be a watershed year for Coach Prime and the program? It's not just that they are coming off of a 9-4 season where they finished tied atop the Big 12 standings, but lost out on tiebreakers for playing in the conference championship game a year after going just 4-8. They also have the reigning Heisman Trophy winner in Travis Hunter, who I'm sure is going to help them recruit to the program, along with perhaps a second first-round pick in Watershed Sanders at quarterback. This also means that we're going to go into the first year without a Sanders on the football roster for the first time since Coach Prime became a college football coach. I think this is significant because he got into the sport to coach his boys, and he has coached his boys all the way through most of high school in Shador's case and all of college in his case and most of college in Shiloh's case. It's also going to show me a lot about what it is that Prime wants to do ultimately as head coach at Colorado. We have not heard yet that he has picked up a loud extension with what we expect to be a sizable raise, but knowing that he's making about $6 million under the contract that he is currently working under, I would expect to see $2-3 million as a raise there because he's worth that to Colorado, and he earned that, right? You go from 4-8 to 9-4 with a Heisman Trophy winner, and you are one of the biggest draws in all of college football. Yeah, you're going to get rewarded for such because football is the way in which you can generate revenue for your university across the board. ACT scores go up, the number of players that want to come go up, the number of students that have not just great GPAs, but parents with money enough to pay full price go up. And institutions like Colorado ultimately want to make money, and they want the brand cachet that comes with a winning football program. Everybody's all in on investing in Colorado football, so much so that they've organized a giving day later on this month where they're expecting their alumni and Buffalo fans to contribute to paying name, image, and likeness for some of the players from a collective. It's also going to be interesting in that we're going to have a new quarterback. Caden Salter feels like the presumptive starter with Juju Lewis there. Perhaps Juju can beat out Caden Salter. I don't think so, but it's possible. 5-star that gets to sit for a year is not unheard of, right? We saw Arch Manning do just that. Essentially, Quinn Ewers did just that at Ohio State, and it's working out well. It's about how impatient or patient Juju plans to be based on what we've seen from Salter. Salter's got 1 year of eligibility left, and he transferred in from Liberty and might be one of the most slept-on quarterbacks in the sport because he did play at Liberty and he got washed out at Tennessee. It's a dude that could play, though, and he got to show that in 2023 when Liberty went undefeated all the way up until the Fiesta Bowl when Oregon pantsed them. Now, it's Liberty, right? This is a program that didn't even exist 2 decades ago, who has carved out a niche for itself as a great group of 5 program. Then you're talking about replacing the production at wide receiver. Losing a guy like Travis Hunter is losing the Biletnikoff Award winner, the best wide receiver in the sport according to those that get to vote on the award. But there are also dudes on that wide receiver, in that wide receiver room that can play. Chief among them, I think, is LeJontay Wester, who is a dynamic punt and kick returner and has speed for days. And I think we're going to get to see him grow into another kind of player. We're also getting to look across the board and say, okay, what else have they lost? Well, on defense, the big hit I still think is Nikai Hill-Green, linebacker, who had 82 tackles plus and transferred to Alabama because he was just that good. That's how good that man is. He's going to start over there. I think replacing him is one thing, but also losing Trevor Woods and a couple of other guys that have been veterans for you is going to be difficult to replace. And you need that pass rush to continue to be elite. It was pretty damn good last year. Can it continue to do that? Can it continue to get pressure on the quarterback? This is Robert Livingston's job, to find out what he's got and to deploy it in a way that makes that defense even better than it was last year. Along with the offensive line play, the defense took a huge jump forward, and that's why Livingston was nominated for the Broyles Award and was a semifinalist for this award because of the turnaround that he had led in year one. I'm curious to see how the offense evolves. I think it's going to be pass-friendly like it was for Shedeur Sanders, but the one thing that I would like to see is a run game that exists. We weren't getting much out of Michael Welch and Isaiah Gustav. Now, Michael Welch wasn't healthy for a lot, but I don't know that he would have run for all that many yards anyway. And Colorado ranked dead last in rushing yards per game, just 65. One of the reasons that I think the hire of Marshall Faulk is such a big deal. You've got another Pro Football Hall of Famer that has joined the staff as a running backs coach, which means you're going to recruit to the position very well. But knowing that Phil Lodeholt has left that job and gone to Mississippi State, I'm curious, what does the offensive line look like? Because Marshall Faulk will be the first person to tell you, you're only as good as your offensive line blocking for you to get to the second level. And once they get you to the second level, then you got to do some of that running back stuff. I love this. I always used to come after my running backs as a quarterback going, it ain't up to the offensive line to get you to the linebacker. It's up to the offensive line to get you past the defensive line. Once you get to the second level, that's you. You got to make somebody miss. You got to run through somebody. And if they have the kind of combo block that gets you up until the third level, nobody ought to touch you. Nobody should catch you. Nobody should bring you down. I would always be on someone's head if I saw a safety or a defensive back make the play on them that stopped them from going for the tutty. I think that running backs need to have that sort of cachet, and they have to have that sort of confidence, okay? If the offensive line can't get you past the first level, we got an offensive line problem. If we're going 3 yards in a cloud of dust, that's the running back problem. I want to identify that. I want to see. Is it the running backs? Is it the offensive line? It's a combination of both. Marshall Faulk will be very good at telling us which one of those things it is. I'm also curious to find out just how many eyeballs are on what Colorado is doing because it's holding a spring showcase and others are not. Take that for account. Ohio State's not doing it traditionally, right? They're just not doing it. Nebraska's not doing it. Florida State's not doing it. Texas not doing it. Keep going down the list, and USC's not doing it. The number of programs that are showing an appetite to play a spring football game or spring football showcase of any kind is going down precipitously because of the nature of the sport. It's not just that we're playing a longer season. That's an easy one to hide behind. It's also true, but it's an easy one to hide behind. The one that you don't want to say out loud is we're paying people. And because we're paying people, we know that someone else might see what we have and they might want to go poach it. Or someone might show out in a spring game, which usually happens, and then hit the transfer portal. And as this is happening right before the portal opens, or right as the portal opens and the NFL draft is going on, I'm going to be curious as to find out just who is left for Prime to perhaps ask to move on or to go get. Because in the spring portal, you're not going to get starters. You're trading starters with other people. Now, you're probably going to overpay for missing out on somebody you probably, or a position you should have filled in the December window, or you're trying to backbone whatever the roster is that you have already with things that you know you're going to need, whether it's another linebacker, another offensive lineman, or even another running back. But you're not going to go get a quarterback in this window unless you positively have to. And there's still some programs that do. And there's going to be some quarterbacks out there like Jaden Rashada that can help you with that. That's going to be the thing that I'm interested in. I would be very curious to find out what Prime is looking for and what he chooses to go get during the portal, if anything, right? There's no guarantee that he needs to go in and get anything. But we're also coming into a space where what kind of attention you can draw in this sport is underscoring how much you're going to get paid. I'm going to do a segment about the revenue sharing negotiations that are going on between Clemson, Florida State, and the ACC. But essentially, it comes down to TV viewership as an incentive. Over a 5-year rolling period from the Nielsen ratings, they're planning to pay people accordingly. Clemson and Florida State routinely have drawn more than any other program in the ACC during the college football era, and specifically the last 5 years. Both of those teams have been contenders for the college football playoff and or playing for national championships in the college football playoff era. I think that is important to note. If Miami was in that, I think Miami would have an argument too, but they're not. They're just now getting on the cusp of being a playoff team for the first time. Miami's knocking at the door like Texas was knocking at the door perhaps 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? Or like Michigan was before the 2021 season. I think Colorado would look at this sort of revenue sharing agreement and go, yo, maybe we should do something like that in the Big 12. And that would vault them even further to the front of the line. Now, whether or not Brett Yormark in the Big 12 have an appetite for that sort of thing remains to be seen. But I know that Brett Yormark has his eyes forward and he wants to spin it forward. He's trying to make as much money for the Big 12 as he possibly can. Does that mean everybody makes more money if Colorado gets paid this incentive for being out front? I would be curious to find out how that goes. But for now, those are the things that I want to see from Colorado. I want to see Caden Salter throw it around, Juju Lewis throw it around. Do you have anything like a running back game? And what does the depth at linebacker and pass rush look like heading into 2025?